go get him again.
Welcome back to the Robzoid channel. I'm your host Mark, and on the docket today we have an unboxing first impression video on the brand of Paco Rabanne. I know it's not a 1 million flanker, and no, it's not an Invictus flanker. We're going in the women's aisle. I think this is the first time for me to go to the women's aisle on the brand of Paco Rabanne. A lot of classics on that end. We're unboxing and giving a first impression on Calandre, which is the Eau de Toilette version. I think there's an EDP as well, if my history serves me well, my perfume history, which is kind of foggy, you know me. I'm still learning in the 60s, 70s, 80s, kind of still gathering information. I'm a huge fragrance head, but my knowledge is built in the, I got some 80s, and I got some 70s and 60s, don't get it wrong, but 90s, 2000s, I got you. So let's take a look at Calandre. Of course, this is a 60s, late 60s release. So I am going to bulk up that Rolodex a little bit today. Now, before we get into anything, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, move over to the like button. Hit that too while you're at it. Now, if you're already subscribed, merci beaucoup. Certainly appreciate all the support. Hit the like button if you're already subscribed. I'd like to get like a little bump, a little like there. Much appreciated. Now let's take a look at the note breakdown before we dissect this little one. Of course, it is part of the Fragflex haul, so I'm decanting this for a website, and at the same time, I am going to publish videos and unboxing them if you're new to the channel. So looking at the note breakdown, it is truly an old school note breakdown. A lot of notes, aldehydes. So aldehydes were pretty popular back then. So aldehydic fragrances, Chanel made them popular, of course. We got Rose, Lily Valley, Orris, Geranium, Jasmine, Oak Moss. So we got a bunch of familiar notes here that I'm looking forward to seeing what, obviously this thing, you know, I'm not, what can I say? I know fragrances, so I know that something from, you know, the late 60s here, this one from 69, has been reformulated to death. So let's unbox this thing. Let's take a look at the bottle first, and let's take a look at what. Well, this got returned, by the way. It looks like the person was fairly legit. There's not much. I could see maybe why they returned it. The metal casing is very loose on this bottle, very loose. Nice, simplistic, in the metal. Paco Rabanne is kind of known, like that was the whole, I remember Paco with the whole metal scheme there. Mugler, I think, went that way as well. So let's delve into it. We'll put it on strip first, and we'll always put it on skin. Of course, it's the best way to test out a fragrance. Let's delve into it. Ooh, very good atomizer. Man, that thing drenched the little strip here. So let's put it on strip. Let's smell this one. Soapy, powdery, floral thing. Oh yeah, aldehydic top. Yeah, it's very aldehydic, soapy. There's some green nuances on here, backing that soapiness. Very clean. Yeah. You know, I'm getting a little bit of a like a metallic, like kind of like. Back in the 90s, there was like a metallic hue to some fragrances, like that almost aquatic metallic thing, and this has it, and I don't know if the bottle's playing tricks on me, which you never know, right? Visuals always kind of tricks you at some point, make you think that you're smelling something that you really aren't, or even the name, same thing. They do that, right? But I sense something cold, metallic. Very aldehydic though, and lots of rose too. There's rose in the note breakdown, right? Yeah, there is. Okay, good. Okay, so let's put it on skin, and there was some green nuances. So Lily of the Valley, perhaps Geranium, maybe the Oak Moss, Calandre. Yeah, very aldehydic, bright thing. You know, you got that lemony sparkle that aldehydes do. Rose, a little citrus pop, and there's bergamot in here, so that could be another piece of that citrus pop. Very floral centric, musky, powdery a bit, green nuances, geranium, I think. Oak moss could do that as well, obviously. Two different types of greens, but I'm feeling some of that density from, I think it's oak moss. There's vetiver as well as a green tendency, but it's not rooty at all. But it has that certain cooling factor to it when it went on my skin here. And that's where I think I associate that metallic tinge a little bit, the cooling factor. A little dewy. I was going to say wet, but I think dewy is probably a better word for it. It's a classical take. This fits right into my Rolodex of like early 90s, right? Straight into the 80s had scents like this to obviously the 60s. It really fits in that classical style. I don't think like a teenager this would start picking up Calandre from Paco Rabanne, but it's a good seller, obviously, because it's still, and you almost have to give props to some of these fragrances that have been built and have gone through, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, like that is like if you're still selling, you are almost, I would call this the flagship of Paco Rabanne on the women's aisle because it's still selling well. Just like the green bottle from Paco Rabanne for the men. It's classical. It's not for everyone though. But it's still well composed. And that's the one thing as a fragrance reviewer, you almost have to kind of put like different kind of hats on, right? Like, is it for me? Well, Calandre is not for me, obviously. It's mostly obviously built for the feminine aisle for obvious reasons. And again, I don't portray male and female. I portray notes. Almost certain notes will make you think of women and men. And again, there's certain notes that will turn you on and off in regards to, you know, some people just don't like vetivers because they've had a bad association with it, or they're just, it really triggers their nose, something like that. Certain notes do that. There's a lot of cooking spices that are in fragrances that some people associate it and they don't really want to wear it. This fragrance, you know, as my hat goes on, I go, yeah, this is, you know, classical. Which I mean like kind of vintage, kind of like old school. However, you know, I still appreciate the build of it and I can see why it's still successful and it's still on the shelves and still selling because of how it's built. Yeah, so one that I'm really happy it came across my desk in regards to me decanting this thing. Because either way, I probably wouldn't have smelt it, but that's the thing that I absolutely love about what I'm doing now is that, you know, maybe not all subscribers like me doing these kind of unboxings, but oh man, am I enjoying myself because I can sniff fragrances like this. I don't have to rush. I can take my time. I sit down with a fragrance like this, and now it's in my Rolodex. So when someone asks me about Paco Rabanne in the female aisle, I have something to offer. I feel like this is one of those fragrances, like, you know, older fragrances like these that were fairly successful because it's, you know, still going to this day. It's good enough that they had to reformulate it because of probably the oak moss in here, among other notes, but they decided to. Because if it doesn't sell well, usually once it goes, oh, we got to change the recipe, no. I'm not going to spend money on that. So Calandre from Paco Rabanne, it's well built. It's good. Is it something I would recommend? For the right person that's looking for the certain particular thing. That's one of those. It's one of those. But classical, yeah. So, yeah, if you're interested in this, go check it out at fragflex.com. Go check them out. You can use my code TF10. You get 10% off site-wide, so you don't have to buy Calandre, but you can buy anything. You can buy anything from Paco Rabanne to anything else. That code does not expire, so keep it in your back pocket and go back to Fragflex in the future. The code will most likely still work. Now that you heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly about Calandre. I'd love to hear stories. That's the great comments that I love on my channels, that people have stories on particular scents. Absolutely love that. The EDP version, is that thing still alive? I don't know. And Pretty sure, like I'm 99% sure there was an EDP version of this that was co-released, I think. I might be thinking about another scent though. Is that one still alive, and is that one even better than this? Maybe. You let us know. And as always, a great report fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your classical release wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.